Thursday, we are live again. So excited to be back. Um, yeah, lots going on. What a world we live in. Last time we spoke, it was Tuesday. Glad to be back. Stefan Roost here, founder of Truflation and Truth Network. Anyway, yeah, two go hand in hand. And we are pretty excited about the momentum that we've got in the marketplace. Right now, we've got the Digital Asset Summit taking place in New York. And I don't know if any of you are at the Digital Asset Summit or not. If you are, great. Let us know the feedback. What do you think? What's it like? What's going on? Give us some gossip. Let me know in the chats. You guys can chat. You know how to do the chat. So let us know. And glad to share some insights. But one thing that's happening today, which is day 3, is that apparently Donald Trump is going to be giving a presentation there. So that's pretty exciting. You can see here, look who we got, Joe Lubin on stage there. There he is there, long time Ethereum. I don't know who that is, but yeah, we can listen to all the speech. You can go and watch it. Yeah, they're talking about real world assets, how big the market is, ecosystem. Here's Donald Trump. There you go. Let's have a quick listen in. What do you think? Should we do that? Yeah.
AI and crypto czar David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and a U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize
I'm live again. Am I? Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. I just had a quick power outage. And so my computer's just shut down left, right, and center. But I think I'm back. I don't know. Let me know if I'm back. Can you see me? According to the stats here, I am back, but I don't see anything seeing me. Now you are live again. Thank you. Thanks, Evangelic. Glad to be back. Man, power outage. Sorry, not my fault. Grid went down. All my computers went down. I don't have UPS for my computer in here. Maybe I should get UPS. But anyway, glad to be back. Thanks for your patience. Where were we at? We were watching Digital Asset Summit. We were watching Trump. There you go. Let me quickly go back to that. Repeat myself. It was after Joe Lubin. It was after here, 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 here. There you go. Let's see. Here he comes. Maybe, oh, it's a bit slow. Man, why is it slow? There we go. Should I go to fast speed? Let me know. I can't accelerate the video. Sorry.
be
There you go.
liberated
Now
to
you can see
invest,
it. Sorry.
innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get.
The next biggest revolution in the technology industry.
Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the US dollar. And many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country. And it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
Well, there you go. That was pretty powerful, huh? How far have we come, right? And there was a really interesting tweet. I don't know, Bill Barriott, if any of you know him, super OG in the space, investor in Truflation. So yeah, really, he wrote a really cool post. Or actually, I should say that Abra is the investor, and he founded Abra. Abra is an exchange/wallet on your phone that allows you to interact with various crypto assets and store various crypto assets. But here, just to explain the why, this is a brilliant post. 10 points that actually highlight, 9 points that are accurate. One apparently is not true. Guess which one the not true one is. I don't know. But either way, if you look at this summary, I think it really sums up the issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? What I learned on X today in one single day, right? CIA killed JFK. Wow, we had the JFK papers get released. Trump opened those up, and we saw the impact of that, and that was the outcome. CIA killed JFK. There were huge structures underneath the pyramids. Okay, nice geographical learnings. The pyramids are in Egypt, and underneath there are whole structures and tunnels, etc. underneath there. We sort of knew that. The movies showed those. Anytime we watched, I don't know, all those Harrison Ford, what was it? Anyway, Raiders of the Lost Ark and all of that, that was all under the pyramids with mummies all hidden under there. A Tesla dealership in Canada was vandalized, cars set on fire as part of climate change protest. It's like, oh my God, that's how weird and wacky the world has become. We're vandalizing the electric car that was the champion for climate change, and we all wanted to go net zero. Everybody had to have an electric car, to the point where now we have to vandalize the cars and we have to set them alight. And this is against climate change. Weird how we have such a turn of events, and actually the people protesting climate change are actually creating fire, which has emissions, which is actually negative for the environment. But anyway, neither here nor there. Tariff inflation is likely transitory. So inflation is transitory. Have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before? Should we go back to 2021? This was exactly why we launched Truflation. So Truflation was launched because there was no way this was transitory. And I just don't think that inflation is transitory because of tariffs. Tariffs are currently the negotiation tactic. And if people haven't realized that, then you snooze, you lose. You're going to lose in the markets if you don't pay attention. And that's why we built Truflation, to help educate you. That's why we do this channel. That's why we do this show. So we are here to help educate you and give you alpha along the journey. You already know today, we give you 45-day lead time against that of the government. We have contrary to what the government tells you. We tell you how and we can give you leading indication as to when Dixie will go down. The US dollar will go down against other currencies. We can give you a leading indicator on how the yields on the 10-year bonds in US dollars will perform. And we can give you information as to when Bitcoin will go up and what those trends are going to look like. Those are all things that our team prepare and share for any and all of you that are interested in finding out and believing in those numbers. And we're getting a lot of confirmation. I'll show you who is talking about Truflation. You have Kathy Woods talking about Truflation. We look at an indicator called Truflation. It's probably the broadest measure of inflation out there. Thank you. This is a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, justification. Why do we need Truflation? Why do I already get it for free over there? Why do I need Truflation? And so more and more the validation is growing, and hopefully we can convince more and more of the market, and we will soon have financial products in the market that will actually be based off Truflation. That's what we're working on tirelessly, relentlessly. And at the moment, the Truth token is what powers the Truth network, which is this decentralized blockchain and database where all of these 100 million data points reside and are stored and are verified and allow you to build a calculation on top of that using SQL smart contracts. That is what we've done. And bear in mind, SQL is the number one database technology out there. 80% of all databases are written in SQL, and 50% of all software developers, equal to about 15 million developers worldwide, have worked with SQL. Some love it, some hate it, but ultimately they've all worked with it. And so the knowledge and the interaction with that and the SQL smart contracts allow you to interact with that. But ultimately, you can listen to her show. But not only did she talk about Truflation, we also have Peter St. Onge. So follow him, another good economist. He talks about a new study of real-time inflation. He talks about Truflation.
In a single month.
Here.
It could be even bigger. A new report says real-time inflation is now just 1.35% per year. The data comes from Truflation, a real-time price aggregator that reads 30 million prices across the economy. The CPI samples just 80,000 with a long delay. The first question is, how accurate is Truflation? Since they started in 2021, they've tracked very closely to CPI, typically with 99% correlation. The one time they were way off official CPI was the height of Bidenflation in 2022, when Truflation reported 13.5% inflation, but CPI said it was only 8.5%. Incidentally, back then, I also ballparked CPI at about 12.5%, a lot closer to Truflation. Reason being government numbers undercount food and massively undercount housing, with a weird step-lagged rent extrapolation instead of just like looking at house prices. So it's driving the low inflation. Last week, I also mentioned government spending.
So anyway, he goes into more detail and some of our insights associated with it. So yeah, really thanks, Peter, and thanks, Kathy, for their shout outs. Yeah, they only help emphasize all the hard work that the team have been investing to build out these accurate numbers and these, and yeah, ultimately, okay, the reward is not yet in the token or not reflected in the token. That's why we really believe that this is undervalued. But there's a lot of upgrades, a lot of information and news coming out with regard to the utility associated with the token, tied to the velocity of the token needed driving traffic and volume on the Truth network. So we are actually live, real business that you can work with. So anyway, I just thought, coming back to Bill's post, all the things that we deal with in crypto, and only us really, I mean, everybody has to deal with it. It doesn't really impact all of us. But yeah, he goes in, Harvard now provides remedial algebra only after accepting 3% of applicants. So they limit the acceptance and participation in Harvard to only 3% of the applications that they receive. So huge filtration process to keep the supply extremely limited and drive up the price and try to drive up the value of it. So, and you pay most probably $100,000 a year to get to Harvard. That's probably only education costs, and then you haven't paid anything else. Harvard, by the way, is one of the world's largest endowments out there. So, what does that mean? They have a lot of spare cash that they invest in projects and funds to support who knows what, but they're not subsidizing the cost of schools and education. And all they do is you get to learn algebra. Most kids around the world are learning algebra. I mean, my kids went to school in Hong Kong, and in Hong Kong, you learn algebra in primary school. I mean, that's where you cover it off. And yeah, anyway, just a difference there. But now you get to go to Harvard and study algebra. Fantastic. Anyway, California government admits their Medicaid program is over $6 billion in the red because they're making payments to people who don't legally live in California. Wow. I mean, that's what happens if you give bureaucrats and you let them be in charge of your, of your services, solutions. I don't know what you want to call it, but ultimately, it's not quite the best thing. Anyway, that was that. And then so anyway, what else was doing? Governor Walz encourages American to short Tesla stock and finds out that the Minnesota State Board of Investment. So he's the governor of Minnesota, and he found out that his board actually owns $500 million in Tesla stock. And so he's telling them to sell it. So ultimately, again, another bureaucrat misallocation, sort of either not spending money properly or not looking after the investments properly. Anyway, Democrats say astronauts were abandoned. Biden simply forgot they were there. Ripple said astronauts weren't abandoned. They're now blaming Biden for actually having forgotten it. Ripple selling billions of dollars of XRP a month, blah, blah, blah. Brad loves Bitcoin. So Brad is the CEO of Ripple, by the way. And Ripple were in a big lawsuit. But anyway, one of those are not true. I don't know which one. Maybe it's Brad loves Bitcoin. Maybe that's not true. But yeah, I'll let you decide. What do you think? Tell me what you think is true and what is not true. Yeah, so I mean, I just want to highlight that in a day, this is a great sort of way to just summarize all the things that you read in media. And this basically, when did he post this? This was yesterday, right? So March 19th. So this is already old news. And I can tell you there's so much new out there. This morning, you had Trump come out there and announce that he was speaking at Digital Asset Summit. You had already a speech out there. There was so much going on. But there were a couple of other things, right? We had the FOMC yesterday. So we did a quick summary. If you're not following Truflation, please follow Truflation on Twitter. You get latest updates, insights, quick gossips, news feeds, and I don't know, anyway, something. But you get a lot of news and different types of feeds. But here you can see Fed hold the rate 4.4, 4.25. QT is slowing but not stopping yet. This is sort of more an accurate reflection. Here, the committee will slow the pace of decline of its securities holdings by reducing the monthly redemption cap on Treasury securities from 25 billion to 5 billion. So what are they saying? The committee will slow the pace of decline of its securities holdings. By reducing the monthly redemption cap on Treasury securities from 25. I have to ask our team what that means. I will explain it to you on Tuesday, so apologies for that. Or we'll explain it in another post after this. But this is, I'm not quite sure what that means. And I'm sure if I don't understand what that means, and I'm in this space, to me, it's another economist in a room, in a study, sort of identifying and talking theoretical versus actually going to the streets and seeing what's really taking place, or going to online sources, capturing sentiment analysis, capturing real-time price feeds across 30 million items, and then actually being able to interpret those and translate those into some sort of message and signal that we can then use. That's what we do at Truflation. And instead, I did study economics, but I didn't practice economics my whole career. I'm an entrepreneur. I've built tech businesses, but that's why we have much smarter people in the data category than myself. You've all met Oliver. Oliver works with this a lot on our inflation calculations, and you haven't seen his team yet, but a lot of them are the ones that are actually making this a reality. So that's sort of the summary out there. I thought we'd share that with you. Yeah, and again, just I thought this was funny. It's just sort of, staring in the sky. Powell base case is that inflation will be transitory. Again, whilst the market did not anticipate a change, and you saw the numbers I shared with you on Tuesday, but ultimately the market thought there was going to be no interest rate change. This is what the market was expecting. It's too late again. Every time these guys act too slow, and then they overreact, right? And so, and then we get ZIRP again, right? Zero interest rate policies, right? Where actually you get no interest rates. Money's going to flow like crazy because they want to make up for what they missed out on. We also had the labor market numbers, right? So the labor markets are holding stable. You saw that over here. Reuters just noticed that U.S. labor market remains stable, but job opportunities are limited, right? So job fair not looking good, but there are no real unemployment numbers just out yet right now. But think about the savings and the ripple-on effect that has had, right? We've seen a number of agencies shut down, a number of departments get closed down, and the mass spending that those departments have done with your taxpayer money, by the way, all of a sudden, that is now being shut down. Offices and departments being closed down, USAID being closed down. So all of these elements are going to have a ripple-on effect. However, we have massive improvements in productivity. So I don't know, Amit, I've talked to him about, Amit is investing, I've been on his podcast, super sharp guy, one of the first sort of committed Palantir advocates and influencers, thought leaders out there. So he was scheduled to go view an apartment. He realized he wasn't able to make the showing, so he decided to call the leasing office. He was already pissed off. Oh man, they're gonna run me through hit one to go to done, hit two to go through. And then so he was pissed. He'd have to talk to 3 different operators, explain the whole thing, cancel the tour. And so within 5 seconds of me calling, I talked to an AI robot, right? So phone answered, AI robot there. Literally 2 minutes later, I canceled the tour and it was flawless experience communicating with AI. There was absolutely zero need to deal with a human. So customer support is no longer going to deal with a human. And it was funny, I was out with a VC yesterday for lunch talking about Truflation and what we're doing. And one of the things that he brought up is the cost savings that AI generates. His partner runs a call center or runs a tech business that has a call center. They launched the call center in the US, $50 an hour. They then moved the call center. It just got too big, too costly. They were constantly hiring new people, and so they had to go and find a solution. So they moved it to Philippines, hardworking, working at nighttime to meet US time zones, fluent English, and good communicators, hardworking, and costing $15 an hour. So it went from $50, and it's not $50, it was $36 an hour, but then you have to pay overheads, Social Security, Medicare, et cetera, right? So that all came on top of it, but $50 to $15. And they just started moving away from Philippines to AI. Guess what the cost was? 50 cents an hour. So we've gone from $50 an hour to 50 cents an hour using AI, and it's flawless. It's 24/7. It's computers that are running and enabling that. So we're going to see a significant productivity gain because of these tools. And look how easy it is. No 1, 2, 3, 5 steps removed, all of that. And don't worry, these jobs that the people in the Philippines will be doing will be other types of work that will be around there. Community managers, ambassadors, level 3 help support, right? So not just level 1 or level 2, it'll be level 3 where you need higher level engagement. You want people interacting with it, somebody that needs to think a bit out of the box and tiptoe. You're going to need other types of engagement, review boards, review comment artists, etc., etc. So all of those are going to be coming as new jobs in the future. And you're already learning about them in AI, in crypto. We've been dealing with that all along, especially since we've been banned from advertising on all the digital platforms, or debanked, as we call it, right? So you've been kicked out of banks. But yeah, those were interesting things. And one of the things that, sort of stepping back from that, I don't know if you've had a chance, but I wrote a really interesting blog post, and I'm going to promote myself a bit. So it wasn't me who wrote it. It was JB on the team, one of our ambassadors, again, one of our champions. He came up with the idea and put the truth. You can't handle the truth. Now, we live in, I'm not going to read through all of this. You can read it yourself. But here you go. So we got this out there. You think you can rely on the government, the bureaucrats, the politicians? No. If you haven't learned that yet, nothing I can do about that. But then don't watch this show. Don't follow Truflation. Don't hold on to truth. But we really are, you think you're going to trust your precious little data to centralized system, to something. Anyway, it was really, really fun. I enjoyed it. It's quite long. A bit repetitive, but really cool. I mean, it's super. And if you've ever watched the movie with Jack Nicholson and with Tom Cruise, watch it, and you'll see. Or if you've watched it, you'll see this be a virtual translation into Truflation speak. So, hope you enjoy that and take a look at that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, more importantly, was a comment that I actually think we heard about stablecoins. You heard you heard Trump talk about it, and I have this bigger, and then Scott Bessent has talked about it. And so what we think is, right now here, I'm putting this piece together, which we'll be sharing. So this is alpha. This is nowhere else. You're seeing this here first, but here, and this has resonated. I've talked to 3 or 4 people, really the VC I had lunch with yesterday, but also with others around this. And everybody actually takes a step back, because there is some truth to this. Maybe not 100%, but take it with a pinch of salt, and take this as, how accurate we have been with predicting inflation. This might be something that we're predicting, and it won't be to this extent, but it will be to an extent that is not far off from that. But here you can see right now, banks are holding $4 trillion in government bonds. And so you can see that's here on the Fred. We've got another couple of graphs that just verify that. However, these bonds are all held at rates below 1%. They were purchased at 10-year bonds. They're purchased with a 0 to 1% yield on there, because the government and Powell told them, and Yellen, we will not raise interest rates for 10 years. And ultimately, they had to raise interest rates. And so that resulted in a huge drop in yield. So much so that every quarter, they have to report a $500 billion unrealized loss. But the par value is 1. So when the 10 years are up, they get $1 back on the dollar out there. So this then ultimately does get lower, because when maturity hits, they get $1 back for this. Now, think about um, one thing that Scott Bessent went out there and said, I'm just trying to find the quote so you know it's not me just making it up and you have a source associated with it. And it is here. Let me just share. I don't know how I can share the screen with you. I don't want to share necessarily. But basically, he made the statement, the stablecoin framework. So there is a stablecoin framework coming into the game. And so that's where we come down here. I'm still writing this, so bear with me. The stablecoin framework will ensure financial institutions can offer dollar-backed digital assets in regulated, secure manner. The stablecoin framework will ensure financial institutions can offer dollar-backed digital assets. Stablecoin is a digital asset, dollar-backed. Guess what? There are $5 trillion sitting at the banks, which at maturity are at par. So will the banks be allowed to mint stablecoins using these assets so they're not sitting idle at the bank? However, they are productive working in the marketplace with a new stablecoin underlying these T-bills that are there. So now any bank can mint. And there was a quote out there that I think Scott said that ultimately you can already see JP Morgan's minting a coin. Goldman Sachs been talking about minting a coin. Everybody's talking about minting a stable coin. And guess what? Even Chamath's been talking about stablecoin industry, the growth of stablecoin industry. So will we see, Republic Bank stablecoin? Will we see, yeah, we already see a JPM coin. We see all these other coins out there. Will we see a new 500 billion injection in stable coins coming into the market, or maybe even 4 trillion? Those will result in digital dollar loans. Where can you spend those digital dollars? You're not going to convert them into fiat. You're going to use them to buy digital assets. You're going to use them to trade on digital exchanges. You're going to use them to do payments and purchases with that digital dollar. So they're going to run on digital dollar enabled frameworks and payment engines and payment networks, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that will come to the market. And that will not only lead to a 10x growth in the market. Right now, the market value is only 225 billion if you look at stablecoins in the market today. All of a sudden, this is going to jump by leaps and bounds that we haven't seen before. And this is going to generate, could this generate the new crypto revolution? I don't know. But I just wanted to give that as food of thoughts. This is coming out later this week. We're just adding more content to that. I'm trying to back it up a bit more with more facts. But there you go. You heard it here first. Hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, let me know if you want to hear about anything else, if you have any questions and answers. But hope you enjoyed the show. I will bring up your questions in the next Tuesday event next week. Have a great weekend. Hope stay strong, stay hard. The markets are going to try and rattle you, shake you, and take away your crypto by dropping prices drastically. It is not over. It is only the beginning. We still have so much to do and to digitize, but let's not lose the drive and what was it? Actually, there was a really good post. I'll just share this quickly. That was Melton Demoir. She wrote a good post. And where was it? Here it was, right? So 5 years ago, bang, bang, bang. It's now, what did she say? The institutions are here, right? They're here to make money. And you see that at the Digital Asset Summit. How many institutions are in the audience there? It's all big institutions, governments, strategy, ETFs, et cetera, right? And yeah, and so, yeah. Yeah, and so what does she talk about? I think I really liked it, which was really, we need to go back to basics. Economic systems are compromised. of matter, energy, and information, comprised of energy. So she's on this whole energy, compute, and crypto, which is really good. But what I actually liked about this article was she was talking about, anyway, it was really about mercenaries, not missionaries, right? So the institutions, it's all about business. We're here to make money, and versus missionaries. A lot of us that got into Bitcoin really early on had a mission. We wanted to change the system. We wanted to build better systems, new systems, more efficient systems, more transparent systems. And we still need to focus on scaling that. We have to find value on chain that's going to attract capital on chain and allow for decentralized capability on chain. Let's make that work, and we can do that as a community. And what we've done is brought data on chain and fully decentralized that. So check that out on the Truth Network, and we are showing you applications that are built on that, from nuon.fi, index.fun, truflation.com. So all of these assets are utilizing a decentralized network of data that is verified across with 100 million items across US, UK, Argentina, and India, and 2 new markets coming soon. We really want to see those 2 markets coming soon. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. I will see you on Tuesday next week. If something really happens drastically, maybe I'll come back a bit more. But hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, everybody, for listening, your time, and happy weekend. Talk to you later. Bye for now.